Hello, this is the Power Hour. I'm Sergio Angulo, and I have Joaquin Ancona and Christian Ramirez with me. This is going to be an amazing episode. Let's jump right into it, you guys.
Perfect. Cool. So it's been a week since we filmed the last episode, and they should be kind of close together if you guys are listening to this. So welcome back. It's been a productive week on all three of our ends. So this time we wanted to really bring on our marketing director, Chris Ramirez. He's been the one that's kind of behind all of like posting the reels. Him and I go back and forth on like when we should be posting the stuff, what should we be posting, like the schedule about what we're trying to post. And like, so if we want to do like a home tour or like the podcasting reel or just any other stuff that we have lined up, him and I kind of tag team back and forth with Sergio on choosing the stuff. So to first kind of start off, we wanted to quickly talk about what we do, but especially from like a marketing perspective. So this whole time we just want to be talking about what we're doing it and how we're doing it from all 3 points now. So now that we have Chris on the show, welcome, dude. Excited to be in it.
Hello. Thank you, guys.
This is exciting. I like it.
This is exciting, man. That's where we had like the whole JCS, Joaquin, Chris, and Sergio.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, so Chris.
The dream team.
The dream team, indeed. So tell us, Chris, so when we first started, so it's been like what, 2 months now or a month and a half?
I think it's been like 2 months. Yeah.
2 months.
2 months for sure.
2 months since we started filming it. Now I know that you've been doing different marketing with Sergio, like from like the handle-in redders to like the emails and then just your blogs. Actually, I really want to talk about the blog and do you feel like it's been really hitting a lot of people? Do people like it? From what I've heard, a lot of people seem to be enjoying it, getting a lot of information from you. Is it similar and like just as cohesive bringing in social media into all of it? Like what has been your experience within the last 2 months of like bringing this all in?
Can we pause?
No, this is like
we're gonna keep
no
going.
edits. I love this. It's kind of like with Evelyn. Remember we did the same thing. Yeah, it's like raw, nice and raw. So do you think like, I think for me personally, like the blog and I think like what we're doing on social media, it's kind of different, right? I think different. The blog, I feel like, I don't know if you would agree, but there's more, it's more like there's one type of person listening to it, I would say, or reading it, right, and consuming the content. I feel like it's more like someone that's ready to go. They're looking on our website. And then what would you say is like the social media, who's maybe like, what are some of the challenges there and who's really like listening to us, I guess?
One of the challenges that we have is kind of like branding our brand, if that makes sense. Yeah. So we're still trying to find our niche in what we like to post, what we like to create.
So true. We're like really diversifying. We're like, I think you mentioned it earlier. We're trying to figure out what's our routine because we just have so much different stuff.
Exactly.
Keep going. My bad.
But yeah, I would say that's our biggest challenge so far.
The branding, right? It's like we're almost trying to like throw, like, what's that saying? Like you're just throwing it on the wall and see if it sticks, right? Almost in a way, yeah, right. We're kind of trying like a bunch of different things. I think with the social media, the branding's been a challenge for sure. I think one of the other things that we're experiencing right now with the social media is we're like trying to really focus on getting leads from it. That's the other thing. I think we're trying to head in a direction, kind of like with the property tour videos, right? That's what we want to, the kind of the direction that we want to go in.
Yeah, that's a goal, I would say.
And we've even made it like we're doing 3 pages now, right? So we're doing 3, and then the home tour ones specifically is catered towards just bringing in leads or having people want to reach out to you.
Lead generating,
yeah. What sound we're calling it? SoCal Homes for Sale? No, SoCal.
SoCal Homes for you?
For you, yeah.
For you,
SoCal Homes for you.
I think it got flagged, by the way.
I
got an email saying that we need to come up with a different name, I think.
Dang,
Really?
okay, so we have to choose a different name.
But yeah, I think the 3 different Instagram accounts, I mean, and obviously just like, I think like in more detail with the challenges, but maybe like the scheduling has been an issue, right? Like scheduling everything out and like.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's been a big challenge.
Some agents think it's ridiculous that we're doing it for free.
Yep, that's the other thing.
What, the home tours?
The home tours.
Really?
Yeah, we've gotten people saying,
They're like, "Why are you doing this?" Like,
yeah, we literally had someone text us like, "Why are you doing this?" I think they didn't understand like what was the point, the value behind it.
We texted them like, "Hey, we're doing these home tours. Can we please home tour your property for free, and then we'll send you the videos?" And then they said, "Why are you doing this for free?"
Oh, like there's some like catch to it.
Yeah, like they just didn't understand like what was the purpose of us getting this content essentially,
Yeah.
Because I mean, as an example, what was the one page? So we've been kind of like getting inspiration from this one other Instagram page, and that's all they do. They're like, I think you mentioned that they're posting like 3 times a day. And if it doesn't do well, they'll like delete it, repost it, and then hope it does better. And if it does, they'll keep it and they'll keep going, right?
Wait, did you delete it?
I've seen them delete it. Yeah. Yeah, like suddenly it won't be there, and then they'll repost again late at another.
It'll say like 20 minutes ago instead of like 4 hours
ago. And I feel
ago.
like they know more of the algorithm, so there's a reason why they delete it.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe deleting and reposting is something
idea.
we don't know about.
But we need to have a lot more like content. Like, on layaway just to be able to
do that, right?
Definitely.
What's so interesting about like the videos of like the home tour videos, right? And I think, like, I mean, I know I'm a good looking guy, but like people love to see nice things on the vanity, right? Of social media. People like to see nice things, and I think
eye candy.
It's eye candy, yeah. And it's like, I think at a certain point, after a certain amount of views, you can kind of calculate how many leads you're going to get, right? So I'm assuming for them, probably, if I had to just guess, like after every 10,000 views, they maybe get 1 lead, and out of those...
One serious lead.
Yeah, one lead that reaches out to them. And then out of like those, maybe like 1 out of every 10 of those is like
so it's a very
an actual qualified lead. But it's out there. The numbers are there, right? And so I think it's really interesting to see like what other people are doing and duplicating it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. I think so many times in marketing, people think like, oh, it's not okay to like copy and duplicate what somebody else is doing. It's like, yeah, you can do that. You're putting your own twist to it, So, I mean, we are doing that, you guys, just to let everybody know.
But go ahead.
What if we ask them how they do it?
No,
that'll give us their insight?
I think if it was any other industry, people would be so open to it. But I think with real estate, people are just so
greedy.
Yeah, greedy. Yeah. Even though, like, I feel like we're
there's
not.
Such a vast, like, there's just so many homes for sale. So many people that want to buy homes.
Different type of people. Yeah.
You may never have like the same, like, let's say you and I were realtors. If someone approached me, they may never know you exist, and vice versa. All the clients that you're getting,
exactly
what I get means nothing to you because it's just so different.
Yeah, exactly.
But
and like for me, like I do coaching, right? For not coaching, but like
mentoring some sort.
It's not even mentoring, really. It's just like helping them, kind of.
You mentor people.
Mentor a little bit. It's like helping them strategize and implement stuff and trying to hold them a little bit accountable. I do that maybe for like right now for like 2 agents that I can think of, and they're not on my team. They're completely on their own. I'm not charging them anything, and that's like me giving back. But I feel like when it comes to like your marketing, agents are so like just closed off from sharing what they're doing. They just want to keep. They feel like that's the only value that they have to give. It's like their secret in marketing, and that's not really their value. The value ultimately is their work ethic, their negotiation skills, like all this other stuff.
I think you would find everything on Google, so I don't know why they hide everything.
Literally. Yeah.
Yep. Google mic drop. Literally, everything is on Google.
We've done a campaign where the mail merger.
Oh yeah.
I literally Googled it and it showed me how to do everything.
Mail mergers.
Wow. So what is mail merging? Because I have no idea what that is.
It's like okay. It's actually. Well, I didn't know what it was either, but essentially we got a letter from. Or actually, I received a letter from this agent that was, he essentially sent me a letter, and he was an agent in my office. He didn't know he was sending me the letter for a property that I own in Montebello.
Okay.
And the letter pretty much said, like, hey, Sergio Angulo, you own this. I know that you own this property at blah, blah, blah. And we see that, there's a lot of movement. The type of owner that you are, you most likely you might be having issues with these things, right? And so it had in the letter fields that were unique to me.
Oh.
But I think since we're in the industry, we know that it's automated. And if you're not, as a consumer, you would not think
It's very
that.
personalized.
Yeah, very personalized.
And so these letters, essentially, what happens is you have all this data, right? So you have like owner's name, you have their property address, you have when they bought it, maybe how much they bought it for.
I had no idea.
You know, all this information, and then you have that all on a spreadsheet, on an Excel spreadsheet, and then you create a Word document. And Chris essentially found out how to create this Word document where there's like these areas in the document that the information gets pulled from the Excel spreadsheet and gets thrown on there, and then all of these letters get generated automatically just by clicking one button. We made like 1,700 letters that were unique, with a unique name, a unique, like, all this information.
Details about the home.
Yeah. And then pretty much mailed it out to a bunch of people, and we received one lead that wants to sell right now.
Yeah.
Just from that.
1,700, and you got one.
And we got one. Yeah.
Wow.
But my point of that is Chris found out how to do that.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
On
yeah.
Google.
On Google. Because the person that...
And I bet you if someone else wanted to, like, if you asked someone else to be like, oh, I'm busy, I can't release it.
It was like top secret.
That's such a dick move.
Yeah, it's
Or
interesting.
you kind of just know not to ask.
Not to even
because you know you're not going to
get the answer. No, the answer's going to be no.
But you know what's really important? I want to point something out. When we found out that we wanted to pursue that, right? And Chris was like, okay, this is a great idea. We're all in on this because we saw it working. The one thing that we knew to do was ask what this was called, because we didn't even know that it was called
mail merging.
It was called
mail merging.
Yeah, field merging, actually. Field merging. So we didn't know that it was called that. So we asked another title rep of ours, hey, do you know what this is? Because we knew that title rep.
What is this concept called?
Yeah, and then from field merge, from there, Chris went on to Google and YouTube and like just learned how to do it.
Dang.
And like literally 2 hours later was like, bam.
Okay, we got it.
We got it. Yeah. So.
Wow. So then that's pretty crazy. So actually perfect segue as we're talking about 1,700 to like 1. What has been like our at least just take and point of view on? So initially we were focusing on just quality over quantity. We would do like 6 reels a week, and then like make them really nice, push them out once a day, and then basically by the next time we shoot, we're out, and so we have to keep doing it. But we decided to kind of like diversify. So now we have my personal editor, so he's doing like the quality reels, and then we decided to also branch out and doing quantity for me. So like now so I think when we shoot for my editor, we're giving him like 8. When I edit them, we do like 20. So from the 20 to like 23 that I've been editing, have we been getting better feedback? Have we been getting more stuff? Because for the first ones, we're doing like, here's 5 things to do, or here are 5 ways, or here's the top 3 things to do. Now when we do like the quantity ones, we're doing the home tours, but we haven't posted them yet. And then we're doing like the educational ones, and then just the podcast. As you, the person that's posting it and seeing like the feedback, are we getting just as much engagement, better engagement, or just like the consistency is what's helping us? Or from briefly what you've seen, honestly, like if you haven't seen that much stuff yet, we're only 2 months in, but like from the quantity side of it, is it helping us?
I would say it depends, to be honest. It depends on the video, the content. I think some videos stick out more to other people than others.
Because there's a big jump. Sometimes we'll have like 500 to 800, and then we have like 4,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like,
it's interesting. I think
I have something I want to bring up. Do you guys notice when a video is going to blow up? Like, do you guys think like, hey, this video is really good, it's going to do like really good in views, likes, or you guys just don't know at all?
I personally don't know. Like
I have no clue. Sometimes I think it's going to do great, and then it does
horribly. And the ones we think are going to do bad do really good.
Yeah.
Like I think it was the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent.
Mm.
For me, as the person that edited it and had no idea what it was, I was like, okay, now I know the difference.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
That's it.
And then we got like 4,000 views.
Yeah.
Like it was just like insane how many people liked, and people liked it.
Yeah.
People liked it.
My sister reposted it. She even messaged me. She's like, hey, I didn't know the difference. Like now I know. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. It was so interesting that like that specific video, and I guess it's what you were referring to, like how are we seeing the engagement and stuff like that. I think when you're shooting, first off, when you go out to shoot, and I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but like when you go out to shoot video, I've noticed that on our shoot day, we're like shooting for one type of audience.
True.
Right? And then like on another shoot day, we're shooting for a different type of audience, because that's really ultimately, if you try to shoot for everybody on one day, it's exhausting. It's almost impossible. So I think what we were doing before, where we would shoot and then we would put that content out, it was strict because we were doing that and it was just like a 1 day thing. That content was directed just for one audience. Now when we're shooting and like we're doing multiple days in a week sometimes, we are creating content that's being pushed out
For
consistently
different
for different
okay.
people. And I've been noticing that we are, like, for example, the one with what's the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor? That one really resonated with realtors, surprisingly. Like, I think even realtors don't know what there was a realtor that said, I didn't know what the difference was.
Dang.
You know,
no
so
way.
like it's interesting, right? I mean, to see like how that's so yeah, I would say the audience is, I think the vocab stuff that we're doing, that's also going to resonate big with realtors, because I think there's a lot of realtors.
It just gives a little bit more insight, right?
Yeah.
On how everything
For
is.
sure.
Yeah. So it's so yeah, I think there's been some changes to it. We had our first video that blew up, that blew up days after we posted it with no paid
talk about it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it was which one was it? I think it was like the one with the podcast it was the podcast one with Joe Soto, the first guest that we had on the show.
Was it the team one? Every day have a 10-minute meeting with your team.
Oh yes, yeah, it was that one.
Really?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere?
Out of nowhere, literally, it was posted maybe a week ago, and then it was the first video that just a week after, just like 5,000 views.
Wow.
So I think that was pretty interesting. That hasn't happened before at all.
No.
So that's also, like, for me, I think value when we look at, like, I mean, like we've said from the very beginning, right? This is a business. This is a business venture, right? It's a long-term game here. We're learning, yeah, big time. And I think when I see like that new engagement, and what was really interesting, that engagement was like, it was real people. I could kind of tell. I was going on people's page, whoever was like liking it, and it was like, it wasn't like, you know, people from India or random parts of the world. It was like agents and like people that are here in the States, kind of. So it was really interesting to see that. And I think
would you say hashtags are important?
I was gonna bring up hashtags and captions, but go ahead.
Talk about the deleting post.
Deleting posts?
Yeah, you're not deleting the captions, or is it the captions that they're deleting? Remember you mentioned that they were like taking off some of the.
What we were doing was like saving the same hashtags on our notes, and then like we would use them in each video, and then it'll flag us that we can't be doing that. So like every like third post, we kind of switch it up so that doesn't happen, because then it completely deletes the caption.
Like, it'll post the video, but
it'll take it off.
It'll take off the caption
for the sake of like
we
spam.
Change that. I think it was picking up as spam.
I had no idea it does that.
Interesting. Yeah, it was weird. I think it's because we were like posting literally the same one for like 30 days, the same set of like hashtags.
So then the fact that I didn't know that. So from the moment I give you the video and you download it, you say, okay, this is the video I'm going to post. Like, what do you do? Like, what's your method of like going from like downloading into your folder to like posting it on Instagram? Like, what captions what like hashtags are you using? How do you make the caption? We talked about day already. We already have a set like time of the day that we post it, but like especially those two for people that like are trying to get into posting more often, the hashtags and captions, like how do you structure it?
Well, the hashtags, we found them online.
Okay. So
we literally looked up most popular hashtags for real estate, and it just gives you a list, and we literally just copy it and then just paste it, and yeah.
And then, okay, so then the captions.
Captions, I try to like listen to the video, and I just like pick up on like key terms and like keywords and like, you know, just.
Because I'm from a different world. Like when I post like my like the cinematic or like product stuff, I literally just put like, I don't know, AirPods Max meets my studio, or like this drone is amazing, and then like mind blown emoji, and then like I put like ... and then do like all like my hashtags there. So like at least for my route, we worry about the caption because it has to be like something super small that you can just like see it. You don't read it. You just like amazing drone. And then you like watch the stuff. But then in this part where it's really educational and people are trying to get value and like informational insight instead of just like, oh, this is really cool, let me like it. Yeah. You really have to put time into the captions, right? Or at least just kind of
sometimes it's like self-explanatory. Like the realtor versus real estate agent, like that was literally the caption. Like, and then we just made that.
And I think I was listening to somebody else that was talking about this, but like, if you're just really simple with the captions, if you're in real estate, right, and you're explaining like, these are the 3 steps to do this, or these are the 4 things that you need to know, and blah blah blah. Like, even though you're putting captions in the video, right? And I think like it's like 70% of people listen or aren't
listen to it muted, right?
Muted, yeah. They're on Instagram, but it's muted, and so the captions really help. But I've also heard that people will read the first couple words in the caption and then
see if they want to watch it.
It might be going too fast, the video. So then they'll like jump down into the actual like caption that you wrote. That you wrote out,
okay.
And then read it. So what I've started trying to do is like, especially in the ones where it's like these 4 things that you need to do to become a realtor. I think we just put that one out.
Yes.
We put like essentially 1, 2, 3. So that people can go in there and read it now instead of having to go back and watch the video over and over. So then it's just like a list of things that they need to do.
So this is what we talked about. And so that's a lot more work, but it sounds super useful. Like,
yeah, because you could screenshot that. You can do so many things with that, right?
Yeah. And especially if you save it. Like, I think Instagram loves it the most, like when someone saves it or like sends it to somebody. So the fact that all the information is there for you to watch it, like if you're a visual person or if you're like a what's it called? Like someone that likes to read, someone that like they learn by reading it to themselves. That's super like useful. I didn't know that we did that. Cool.
I didn't know that Instagram really likes it when you save things.
Saved.
That might be a good call to action. Instead of saying like, oh, leave a comment, save this video if you're looking to
like
become
save
a
for
realtor.
later
On it or something.
Yeah. If you're looking to become a realtor, save this video or something. I didn't know that. Good to know.
Yeah. So apparently with TikTok, it was like sending it to people. So the fact that if you made a link, that's why some people were like, oh, if you want to help me make this video blow up, just like go to share and press copy link. Because you don't technically have to send it to everybody, but if the app sees that you're pressing share and then copy link, it's like, oh shoot, it's like so good that they're gonna send it to somebody. Let's promote it. Whereas Instagram, I've heard, is like the saving feature. So if people like to save it, and then it was like one other thing. I don't know if it was either commenting or liking it, but saving and then interacting with it is like super like gold stars.
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to start like pushing, or at least like have people want to do, but also give them a reason to want to like post it and like that kind of stuff. But yeah, so then, okay, cool. So then now that we've talked about kind of like what our posting game and everything, let's quickly talk about our week, so like you guys, so when I'm not there filming and we're like brainstorming ideas, how do you guys like keep marketing going and not a social media platform? Like, because I mean, obviously I know, but the people that are watching may or may not know what you guys do, because you guys do a buttload of marketing in like your own perspective.
As bad as it sounds, sometimes we forget, to be honest.
Sure.
Yeah. We're like super busy and we're like, oh shit, we didn't post today. And then we just like try to post something really quick. I think.
What about like the non-social media stuff, like stuff that doesn't have to do with me? Like, what are you guys doing also to market yourselves? So we talked about the letters, but you guys also have like the blog that you do. You guys also do like the
email blasts.
The email blast. You guys also do like
mass texting.
VAs.
Tell them about it. So tell them. They may not know.
The VAs.
Yeah, we're doing so we have virtual assistants. Yeah, virtual assistants now that are.
How many do we have?
We have 3 now officially. 3, but then we're
onboarding
2 more. 2 more. Yeah. So we have thank you. We have 3 and we're onboarding 2 more. Cool. They're pretty much cold call circle dialing. That's what it's called. So they're for properties that we've sold or listed. They are calling the owners in the area to find out if they might be looking to sell or they know somebody looking to buy. And so it's pretty cool. We have a really integrated system. They're calling, right? And we have them set up at different times. So we have people in the morning, in the middle of the day, and then at the end of the day. And then once they get somebody on the line that does want to, then they live transfer them on to me. and then I take the phone call. I take over the phone call.
Not only that, but you guys also have like a flagging system. So like, let's say they were saying like they didn't pick up or they're not interested. Like if they didn't pick up, okay, they go back into like the call list, or like if they're not interested or like not in this moment, you guys like put them into categories, right?
Yeah, and they leave notes for us. They're like, hey, this buyer said to call him at 5 p.m.
There you go.
They make a task for Sergio, and then he calls him at 5 p.m.
Wow.
Or like they'll put like a little note of the conversation. He's looking to buy in Texas and he wants to sell here or something like that. You know,
or
so then
buy in 2 months. Call him in 2 months.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And then the system actually allows us to record the calls. So
for like feedback and just
so then we'll play it with them. We meet with them every day. We do
every day. Wow.
Yeah, every day for like 20 minutes, and we do script training with them in a group setting. So we do script training. We do I jump on probably 2 to 3 of those calls a week. But then we have somebody on our team that's just dedicated to handling that whole project.
Wow, nice.
So that's probably the biggest thing we're doing right now in terms of marketing. But then the blog is something that I really am looking forward to.
Yeah, I have no idea about it. Can you like tell me about the vlog, or tell us about the what and the email blast? Like, because I also want to ask, like, is that in your point of view, since you're putting so much work into it, like, is it still relevant? Is it like still doing good? Because one thing that I've heard back in like when I was still in high school, when I was taking like a computer typing class, they were saying that to this date, even now, like since back then till like forever, the number one most utilized social media platform is still email. Like there's millions and millions of like interactions going through like emails all day. Like if you don't think about it, like I really try to like clear my emails before I go to bed, and I have like 30 on like every account that I have.
Yeah.
Like there's so many like newsletters that go to you, or like people that reach out to you, or just like replies and a bunch of like email is so just powerful if you use it right. And the fact that you guys are like putting so much work into it, because you guys send the blog via email, you guys do the newsletters via email as well, if I believe so, and then like the letters are hand physical. But can you tell me and us about what the blog focuses on, and then the newsletters and like the blogs, the blogs and the newsletters? How do you guys, because I've seen you designing it and it looks really clean and amazing, and I want to know like if people actually like get something from it, or if it's just to kind of update you guys on what you're doing, or like who is it catered for?
I guess it also depends like what's going on with us. So say we have like 4 escrows that just opened that week, we kind of like notify like our clientele like, hey, we opened 4 escrows, like, you know.
Oh, okay.
And then we ask the question like, hey, do you have anyone that's looking to buy or sell? Like, give me a call. It's just like a lot of things like.
Also, you have like recipes on there, which I think is cool.
Oh yeah,
recipes.
Yeah, we
like,
have like food recipes
on our newsletters. It's like a recipe of the month kind of thing. So like, since Halloween's coming, we do like a Halloween.
It's like a legit newsletter.
Yeah,
wow.
It's a legit newsletter. Yeah, I think it's great for keeping in. It's like hard, right? When you have so many past clients, it's hard to keep in touch with them, right? For me to be calling them all the time and just like keeping that relationship going, which I want to keep that relationship going, right? I care about them. A lot of times, especially in the last 2 years where the market was just insane, you really built a bond with some of these clients. And I've met like their kids. I've been there for, just events in their life, right? We've had clients pass away. There's been a lot, right? So you really, if you don't keep up a relationship with them, it's difficult, right? So especially when they call you, years later to help them with something, if you haven't kept up that relationship, then you're going to have a hard time, getting that business ultimately. So I think email specifically is something we've been consistent with. People remember us about, they'll just click on our emails. We have like a 29-30% open rate, which is great in terms of email marketing.
30%.
And it like compares it to the industry average.
Wow.
Yeah, we're always like above it.
Above industry average. So people are dedicated to opening up our emails. We have about 14,000 contacts.
Industry average is like 5% open rate, and we get like 25-30%.
And how do you guys know that? Like,
it shows us on the program we use. It's like,
okay.
Yeah,
What's it called?
cool.
Constant
Contact.
Constant contact.
Yeah. Really good software. So
I mean, it sounds pretty like obvious, but like super unknown, like giving people like other value than just the real estate. Like, let's say, for example, like a client just like didn't want to like keep connected to you for the sake of like maintain the relationship, the fact that you give them like food recipes and like other stuff that gives them value, you know, not just real estate and like, oh, this is what I'm up to, but like for their lives. Like, what else do you guys have in the newsletter? Because that's so cool. I had no idea. What else do you guys put in the newsletter?
Well, just recently the podcast.
Cool. Okay.
That's doing amazing, actually. I think like 20 people clicked on the link for YouTube to like go watch it, which is really cool.
Really good. Yeah. And I think we also like used it was pretty cool because we've never kind of done this before, but like you sent an email just for the podcast episode. So you started including that every week. Mm-hmm. So in addition now to all the other stuff, emails that we're sending out, we're also
dedicated to the podcast.
And I was really worried about like sending out multiple emails a week, but from everything that I've listened to,
they
and
actually told us not to send emails frequently because people get annoyed.
Yeah. And that was someone in our office, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But we decided to not listen to them, and we were like, no, we're just going to do it. And yeah, in the beginning, we had some people like stop, unsubscribe, stop following us. But then after like a couple weeks, we just saw a bump up in our ratios because, people that really wanted to listen to us, they like followed us even more.
Wow.
So,
well, that same person told us that like if you're like bombarding them with emails, the ones that don't want to listen to it are gonna like leave, but like the ones that stay are the ones that are gonna like engage in your emails.
They'll fill themselves out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The one thing that I really want to like pursue in the coming weeks, and something that I want to work on, when it comes to email, I want to do something called like us. I've heard this term used before. I don't know if it's the right term, but it's like a social media dump. I've heard that before. It's like you're literally
like a recap, but it's called like a dump.
Yeah. So it's like a recap, I guess, of, I've never heard of it before, but it's a recap of all you've done in social that week, essentially.
No, I think it's
cool.
I think that's kind of consolidating like ways for everyone. I think actually, now thinking about it, that's so smart, because let's say for example, like our podcast is on like auditory platforms. Our like visual stuff is on social media, and then like informational stuff is on emails. But if you're doing it in a way where like the newsletter that reaches the people gives them everything. Like, hey, in case you don't have time to like look at all this stuff, or in case you missed it, you're on Instagram and you just didn't come across our page, here's like the last like 6 reels that we posted. If you want to watch it, here's like the names of all of them, and here's what each one talks about. Here it is. Or here's the podcast.
So what's like being super detailed about it, right? Because I like to like really micromanage everything. Not a good quality of mine, but I think what's really what's really interesting is okay, so the goal right now is going to be 1 email per week that's just dedicated to what's happening that week in social media, right? So let's say we've made
on a specific day, or like,
I think we're going to do a specific day.
Cool.
But let's just say that we posted 6 times that week, right? So essentially there would be 6 sections to this email, right? And what we're going to be doing is each post now will have a blog. Each social media post will have a blog post on the website with that piece of content, right? And I think you were talking about using AI to like create more verbiage for the blog, right? Mm-hmm. Using the caption.
Jasper AI.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, how does it work?
It has like a bunch of like tags, and then it tells you like what you want to create. So it's like emails, social post, YouTube description, everything. And then say you want to do YouTube description, you click on it, and then it tells you like what you're talking about, like in a few words, and then it literally generates a whole description for you, which is pretty cool. So it's pretty accurate. Like it's scary accurate, actually.
Yeah, I've seen it, and like it's pretty pricey, like a month, right? It's like subscriptions, like $50 a month or something like that.
Something like that. But it's so worth it.
I mean, if you're using it for everything, it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
Just
I used it for the podcast bio, by the way.
And it's it's like legit. It's like very like professional and like formal.
Yeah.
I think you did that like in 5 minutes, and if you would have written that up, how long would it have taken you?
Like an hour.
At least an hour.
Yeah. Easily, dude. And
revisions, revising, and cleaning it up. Yeah. At this.
And you do have to do some editing from what I saw, right? But like for the most part, it's pretty good.
some grammar here and there, but other than that, it's pretty good.
So yeah, I think using the caption that we've already written up on the social media post, throwing that into Jasper AI, and then creating an entire blog post behind that being posted on the website, right? Again,
and the website too.
So the blog post gets posted on the website and then gets linked to the email that's going to be sent out. Wow. So literally, we're just this content that we've already created, right? That we've already generated, it's just being reworked again for us, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so I think that's something that's really interesting because I'm, again, looking at,
and it gives a bit of longevity to like the stuff that we're pushing out, right?
Correct. Yeah, I think
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it keeps it going for a little bit longer because once you post it on social media, I mean, it's up for like 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, and then really it's done, right?
Wow.
And so finding a way to, make it continue. And I think that's another thing that we should look into, maybe even YouTube, because the difference between YouTube and Instagram, right? It's like Instagram, you post it, that's it. The likelihood of it getting picked up again is low. But with like YouTube, once it's on there, people because it's used as a search engine, really.
Oh, okay.
The users continue to
keep finding it.
So
that's interesting.
Another thing we should maybe look into doing, maybe somehow reworking some of our content that we're creating to be able to be on YouTube, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Something to think about.
Cool.
Yeah.
So then real quick, one thing that I want to quickly mention and kind of tell you guys about. So yesterday I posted a video, a new reel. It was like the drone one. I don't know if I showed you or not, but it's like a little cinematic sequence.
It was super cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
I smashed the like button.
I used that one.
Which one?
So the one of like the let me see if I can find it. But like the close up of the drone, like this one that like shows like the lights. Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you. But so we as like as the team have decided that like around 6:40 to like 7 within that 20-minute margin is when we post. And for me, I've been trying to be very like firm on it too for my stuff, because one, that kind of helps all of us like stay consistent. Like when you guys post, I'm like, I have to post too. Or like if I'm posting, I can remind you guys. But I've been trying to keep that time. And so I used it to see how long it takes for like a video to blow up, if it does, and then how long that trend takes up for. So I did screenshots of everything. So as soon as I posted, it took me 2 minutes. Within the first 2 minutes, I got 2 views. And then, let me see. And then after 10 minutes, I got 20 views. And then it just really stalled from there. And then it took me, let me see, from 6:40 to 7:50. At 7:50, it finally picked up. So an hour and 10 minutes later,
wow,
it jumped up to, like out of nowhere, jumped up from like 80 or 90 to 2,952.
Wow.
So from 6:40, keep in mind, to 7:50. So an hour and 10 minutes, it jumped up like 3,000. And then my final clock time, and then at 8 o'clock, 8:03, it went to 7,545 views. So it took another hour. So that means at least it's still live. So within the first 2 hours, or hour and a half, it went from like 80 to 7,500. So like literally 6,000 posts. And then let me see. And then it was until 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock was my last screenshot that it did. It hit like 9,800. So fortunately within the last it took another like 2 hours. So like by like midnight, it hit 10K. But from 6:40, or let's just say 7 to like 9:30, it was like going and going and going. So really, if to like, at least as an observation that I've seen, to really see if like it's going good or not, the first 3 hours is what key. Is key. Yeah. So like that's why if someone like likes my post, I'm liking back, or if someone comments, I'll like it and then reply, that kind of stuff, or like I'll share it onto my story, and like the moment that anyone replies, I'd reply back right away, because those 3 hours are like super key. So it may not be super consistent, but at least the last like 3-4 posts that I've been getting, the one that I really was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to like reply to everything within the second. That one fortunately got 12,500 views.
Wow.
So this one that hit 10K, I was doing the same thing. The first 3 hours, the moment I get a reply, keep going, and then just like be on top of those 3 hours. After like 11 o'clock, it was dead. It crawled.
That's so interesting.
It probably picks up like the activity.
Yeah.
The algorithm.
The activity, the engagement, everything.
What's so interesting with our, what we're, I guess, creating because it's like really educational, right? I mean, we're gonna start getting into some of the like the nice home tour video stuff, but I'm really interested to see how that goes. But because it's like mainly educational, I have a feeling like our really peak is like within the first 30 minutes to an hour tops.
Really?
Yeah. Like I feel like after that, rarely has it been like.
I feel like because so many people create similar content, so it's like hard to actually get in the algorithm.
Yeah.
And pick up activity and stuff.
Yeah, it's a very like congested kind of market, I guess, right?
For sure.
The real estate entrepreneurship, but I feel like it's also one where once you get a following from someone, like they're
genuine people
that are actually following you and listening to what you're doing.
But I've also noticed that like by you diversifying, so let's say real quick, let's do a quick little rundown on your likes that you're getting. The one that you just posted today, by the way, is at 1,272. So we hit that 1,000 mark.
It's getting there.
The one that we posted yesterday was like 800. The one that we posted 2 days ago was 793. But the last one that we did, the number one.
One thing you have to do is a team meeting every day, no matter what.
That one's at 4,867.
That's the one that popped off out of nowhere.
Wow. And the last one, so actually, real quick to kind of tell people, so we posted 2 on accident, right? We posted these 2 on accident.
We did.
They're both doing very well. The first one did really good at 2,600, and then the second one was just like, fuck, should we just delete it? But that one, 4,800, like out of nowhere. So I feel like also it's just super different because the realtor is getting 4,263 views, whereas the one right after 1,100, and the third one after that is 800. But then you jump to the podcast, and that's 2,600.
Yeah.
So it may not also be like the consistency, but also what you're posting. Because if you look at it, as the moment you start changing it, so like this isn't boop, does really well, and then you change it, boop, 1,000. You change it, boop, 4,000. So it could be like the times that we're changing it are to our advantage.
Oh yeah.
And then speaking of changing, I also wanted to bring up full transparency to our viewers, is for the sake of just convenience, but also for imagery. We're the home tours. We are ditching the whole cinema camera setup. We're shooting on an iPhone now.
That was a big change.
That's a huge change for me. It was like very weird, but also I feel like we can only get so good at filming the homes. Like there's a specific way that people like to watch it. And even when we were looking at like the videos of the other people, like how they do it, when I was looking at it, I'm like, shit, this is pretty good already. Like I can maybe film it a little bit better, but the way that you're filming it is going to be consistent throughout. So it's really just kind of pushing the same thing out too. So at that point, people are more concerned about the house and the quality. But like when you're learning something, like half the experience is visual, half the experience is audio. So that's what really matters. But when it comes to a home and people are like in the home buying like needs and wants, they just want to see how the home looks. So by having an iPhone, and iPhones do incredible video already. Like we literally just bought the iPhone gimbal like 2 hours before we were supposed to go shoot. We like charged it up, went to go shoot, and it went amazing. Like thankfully, like it went super flawless. But the fact that we're shooting on an iPhone now for the sake of convenience and just pushing this stuff out for people and not worrying too much, like, oh, is it gonna look beautiful? Or it's gonna look great no matter what because the house is already good, you know. So I think that's one thing that we're also like mentioned, that we're changing it up by like changing like how we're filming.
And I think that's what's like amazing by like what we've created, right? Like the fact that you're open to changing that.
And I wasn't. I was like, no, we're going to shoot on the camera. Like,
it's just like super hard. No, I mean, that's a hard thing to do as a professional. Like,
would you say it's easier?
It was definitely a lot easier. The iPhone did a whole lot for you. But for me, that like the grit, it won't look the same anymore.
Yeah.
Like you can compare like
that quality.
Yeah. To like what an iPhone will look like. But it's the house that's going to make it look just as good.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I mean, like, you know, the fact that we're willing to adapt, right? And we're willing to make those changes. I mean, that's really where the magic sauce is, right?
We even thought about getting a smaller phone.
We were getting like a mini, like a 13 mini or 12 mini. And also, like, speaking of changing, when we went to go shoot the houses, we spent like half the day shooting that. We spent like 3.5, maybe 4 hours filming like 6-7 homes, or I think it was 6 homes. By that point, we were like shooting like, we're hoping the sun doesn't go away too fast to get the last house. But like we're also
the creepy house.
the creepy. Yeah,
Oh my God.
we had like weird vibes from the last house, but we're shooting like half the day. You
Yeah.
know, so we're really batching and shooting, like as I mentioned earlier, the quantity over the quality, and then we have specific days where we prioritize the quality over it, but we're changing that, and then for the sake of convenience and pushing out more stuff, we're switching to an iPhone 2. So we'll see with the next Power Hour how the iPhone footage looks and how it engages, but I think it's gonna do really good.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one thing to point out to all you agents out there that are like, I don't have the time to go spend half a day shooting video. I was working in the car that day,
He was.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing my calls and I was doing my follow-up, and we got it all done. And so I think it's totally doable. I used to be one of those agents that thought it wasn't
Feasible
doable,
or anything.
Mm-hmm.
but it
No
totally is.
excuses.
Literally no excuses.
Up
Yeah.
until like the moment the sun left, we were all just like hurry and
go.
rushing and driving, like
Turning
all three of
turning
us.
off lights.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turning on AC just to not die and everything.
I know.
Oh my gosh,
It was
it was
hot. In and
so
out.
hard. Hot.
was
It was
hot.
so hot. Hard. It was so hard. It was a hard day.
It was a hard day.
But I guess, can we talk about like one thing here just real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Like motivation.
Okay.
I've been thinking about that topic a lot this week.
You have been posting a lot of stuff like manifesting and like goals in your story.
I have.
Actually, right now I just saw one like goals. You know, like who wouldn't want to live in like the art district and that kind of stuff. Like you're talking about.
I've
Yeah,
been
go.
on that. I've been on that for like this last week, and I think, or like really the last couple months, but this week specifically, it's not easy, right, to keep the motivation up. And I guess I wanted to hear from you guys. How do you feel about like what's keeping you going in terms of being excited when it comes to these different marketing goals that we have, and how are you staying motivated?
I'll let you.
No, I'll let you go first. Go for it. Because I got to think of it from like a.
Well,
Go ahead.
I guess motivation is like a broad topic. I think people wait to motivation is a feeling. So
Mhm.
people wait to feel motivated to do things. But in reality, you have to be consistent in what you're doing, even if you're not feeling
Committed to the
motivated. Yeah.
consistency. Yeah.
Because that's what gets you your end result, not feeling motivated that one day, like, hey, I'm going to do all these crazy things I've been saying and do it all that one day, but then you don't feel it tomorrow, and then like you don't pursue it and
When
you
the day
don't
comes, you're
finish
not
what
going.
you started. So
100%.
so I would say just be consistent with what you're doing.
And so, like, to be consistent, you're just like, is it just like major planning that you're doing, or is it like, what is it that you're doing to be consistent?
Having an agenda
Yeah.
and just following that agenda. So you can be having a bad day, but as long as you're following it, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah. My thing this week has been being super strict about, so I have multiple people coming into my office all day, right? I have emails coming in, text messages, phone calls. Like, there's just so much hitting me all at once. I've been super strict about keeping my door closed. And if somebody needs to get something to me, they either need to send me a message, an email, or reach out to somebody else before they reach out to me, because I really need to be like laser focused if I want to be consistent with what I'm doing, right? So yeah, what's keeping you motivated?
So for me, especially because we're diversifying in what we're filming and how we're filming it, especially because like since we're trying to work so much into it, there's been times where you're like, oh, like is there a way that we can like make it so that way when we want to film an idea, like we can just set it up in our office. For me, like I'm very like adamant on like, okay, making sure like your grid looks a specific way. Mm-hmm. So by doing that, on the contrary, I have to make sure that I can film that. Or like, oh, can we film homes? Okay, how can I film the homes? Or we want to do breaking news. Okay, how can I be filming breaking news? And so I've always kind of like danced on a line between the quote like jack of all trades, master of none. So like if you want to get good at something, it's step by step. But as soon as you kind of get the hang of it and kind of get good at it, you kind of move on to something else and then take that on. So like for example, in how we started doing like the education, like the reels with the emojis and all that kind of stuff. So for me, that it's been shooting events and like horizontal video, that was like the first time I've ever like done like a full like production filming vertical. So as soon as I kind of got the hang of filming vertical, we said, okay, cool. How can we start doing the podcast. Now I had to completely switch gears and then go back to horizontal, but then edit for vertical, and then now learn audio. So like tweaking audio and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as we got the hang of doing the podcast, okay, cool. How can now we start doing like home tours? That's completely different now. Now you're filming on an iPhone, a very small device, on a gimbal, and then you're just like floating throughout the whole house. And then once I get the hang of that, we move on to something else. But until then, we're still doing all three at the same time. So for me, it's kind of like I'm getting motivated by trying to get good at something a little bit to kind of get the hang of it, and then practice makes improvement, and then putting on something new. So for me, I'm at the point where I'm really excited to be doing everything now, because I'm learning all this different stuff, from like lighting to audio to setup to like aesthetic to filming. All that's like, okay, cool. Like, okay, how can I make one thing better in like 5 different avenues, you know?
And you're like super passionate about that, right?
And I like it. So that's why I'm excited to do it, because there's like so much to learn about it.
And I think that's where the motivation comes from, right? Ultimately, it's like you're excited, from your passion to do your craft and what you're doing, and so honestly, I think we have a great team. I think we're going places. People.
JCS
Power
Hour.
But cool. All right, well, I think that sums up our hour. Real quick, if we would just want to talk about what we're doing this week, just to kind of recap and then see if we complete it or not for next week. So at least for this week, I think we're bringing on new guests to the podcast. So at least my goal for us is just to kind of now be diversifying the content that we're putting for that.
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks we didn't have
any guests.
Yeah.
So now by putting that in, and then we're getting ready for a new chapter in our filming. Maybe we can talk about it next week.
Mm-hmm.
We're going down to San Diego.
Yes, sir.
The first time that we're going to be shooting a podcast on the road.
Mobilely, yeah.
Mobile podcast. Yeah.
Mobile podcast.
Exciting.
And I think maybe we should have like a calendar of like what we're going to post.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like there's days where like, what should we post? Like, because I think you tell us, oh, we need a vocab, or like, we need this kind of video. And we're like, where is it? Or
That's
like,
so true.
you know,
this week we should definitely work on that then.
Yeah, for sure.
Having a calendar and what we're posting.
Some type of like, planning it out.
So like Monday would be vocab, Tuesday would be home tour, and then Wednesday would be a podcast.
We have a Google calendar. Maybe we can like post it there.
Yeah.
And then under the comments, we put like what we're posting. And like I can even add to it. Like, okay, this week we post this, like this type of reel. And then if you can, if you would like look at the calendar, you're like, okay, you know what? From like the 20 videos that we have, okay, let me post realtor versus real estate agent on Monday. And then, okay, if Thursday is the next day that I'm supposed to be shooting another vocab, let me do like what is arbitrage or something like that. And then you kind of like go to the calendar real quick. Oh, this is the one that I've chosen to post.
Yeah.
And then go there. And then you're looking at the podcast episodes, you're like, oh, you know what? On Wednesday, I already decided I'm posting building a team. And then you kind of like have that structure from there.
Love it.
I love it.
Awesome, guys.
Yeah.
Well, good hour, man. Do you want to close it off? And
no, I think it's a great episode. Love having Chris on. This is really cool. Our marketing director.
Thank you for being on it. Yeah.
I was so bad.
No, it was great. It was a lot of fun.
First time. So.
Yeah, no, it was so good.
First of many,
yes. And I think excited for all the things that we're doing. This week is going to be a killer week for us. We have a lot of prepping to do. We have some big guests coming up on the podcast. And yeah, let's just keep going, keep improving, keep trying new things, and have fun with it.
For sure. All right. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.